folks, CA Rachana Ranade here. Well, neither the monsoon is over. लगेच पाऊस पडलाय. My animation team has become full pro. So neither the monsoon is over nor the IPO season is over. It's raining IPOs and one more IPO has come up which is called as Pine Labs. So in today's video, we are going to understand what does the company do. We are going to understand about the industry analysis. We'll talk about the financials. One extremely important point that you should know about the company. And if you want to know that, please keep on watching the video till the end. Now let's understand what does the company do. Okay, Pine Labs is a fintech and commerce technology platform. So first things first, fit into our mind, it's a fintech company. Okay, but what does it actually provide? What does it build? It builds the digital infrastructure. So when I say a normal infrastructure, it could be like building roads, railways, airports, whatever. But if I'm talking about digital infrastructure, what does it power? Digital infrastructure would power payments. It could power gift cards. It could power credit solutions for merchants, brands, and banks. But then, what does exactly happen when they build a digital infrastructure? So, for that, let's understand the segments of the company. I'll give you multiple examples through which you will understand the business model in detail, right? So, first things first, one of their business segment is digital infrastructure and transaction platform. So, they are going to build that digital infrastructure for what? For powering in-store and online payments for merchants and financial institutions. So we are going to take examples. What do we mean by in-store? They're providing a digital infrastructure for in-store payments. So let's take a simple example. You go to a Starbucks shop, okay? You order for a cup of coffee, you give a debit card or a credit card, and whenever you give them the card, you will see such kind of a POS machine. Okay, that's called as a point of sale machine. And on top of that, you can sometimes see Pine Labs written on it. They don't have a monopoly, they'll have multiple competitors here, but whenever you see the word Pine Labs here, it means that they are powering the solution, or they're powering this entire transaction, whereby when you give the card, money will be debited from your account and money will be credited to Starbucks account. Okay, that is how they have built the infrastructure. Because of that infrastructure, money movement is going to be easy. Okay, this was an example of what in store. Now same thing, let's say instead of Starbucks, you place the order, let's say on Amazon. Okay, what will happen? Same, whenever you buy anything on Amazon, if you choose one of the payment platform, okay, whichever is the pay, let's say you choose ICICI as the payment platform. ICICI, some of the transactions again Pine Labs is going to power. In that case, money debited from your account, credited to Amazon account. That infrastructure may be provided by Pine Labs. Both examples are clear. For what? For in store and for online payments, right? Now let's move on to the next example, which is affordability solution. So whenever you go ahead and do a transaction, let's say that's an EMI transaction or a BNPL transaction at checkout, again Pine Labs may come into picture. Let's again take a simple example. You go to a shop, you buy a mobile, and the shopkeeper says that you have a BNPL or you have an EMI available on this mobile phone purchase. Whenever you give a card for that, and that EMI thing needs to be fulfilled, Pine Labs again comes into picture, because Pine Labs will provide that infrastructure whereby whenever you give your card, let's say you give an HDFC card, okay, some money will be debited upfront, and balance money will be debited at the end of every month or at a specific date every month. That infrastructure needs to be in place. That infrastructure is provided again by Pine Labs. Again, I'm repeating, is this the only player? No, this is just an example. They're one of the players in this digital infrastructure space. Clear? Ultimately, they also provide some value-added services, something like dynamic currency conversion, cashback, loyalty programs, invoicing, GST tools, whatever. Who are their top clients? It's SBI Payments, HDFC Bank, I gave you the example. ICICI Bank, I gave you the example. Then again, consumer electronics, Chroma and all that. You can see large retailers, DMart. E-commerce, I gave you the example of Amazon. Restaurants, I gave you the example of Starbucks. And you can see so many points. New Age, Cred, Lenskart. Okay, all healthcare, government, you can see all their clients. But please be aware, whenever you hear something like, let's say, an ICICI Bank, is ICICI Bank exclusively doing business with Pine Labs? Answer is no. Okay, ICICI Bank may partner with multiple such companies who may provide payment gateway and other digital infra solutions. Okay, Let's move on to the segment B, and segment B is issuing and acquiring platforms. Now, what do? They also issue prepaid cards and gift cards. So, I'm sure everyone knows about this. Amazon has a gift card. So, right from designing the gift card, then whenever someone purchases the gift card, then how much money is received by Amazon, keeping a track of that, because that money will be received by Amazon when the gift card is sent to the receiver. Okay, let's say someone buys the gift card, sends it to some friend for a birthday, as a birthday gift, let's say, then that friend is going to utilize that card. So whatever was the balance in that gift card, that is going to keep on going down as and how the receiver makes transactions. So all these again need to be updated. Who does all these things? You need a fintech platform here, and again that is done by Pine Labs. Okay, so I hope prepaid cards, gift cards example is clear, right? Next one is card issuance. Oh, card issuance and processing. Again, the same example that I gave you. Let's say Amazon card. They are going to design it and all that. Card issuance, okay. And ultimately, acquiring services, helping banks acquire merchants so that their cards will be accepted everywhere. Now that you have understood what do we mean by the digital infrastructure in simple words, one example that you can remember is they facilitate e-payments. Okay. Now that you have understood what does the company do, now we need to understand for providing all these services, how do they earn revenue? There are total 5 ways through which Pine Lab makes money. We'll understand one by one with quick examples. Number one is a subscription fee. Let's say there is a shop and they say we need a POS machine. The company Pine Labs will typically say this is an upfront fee that you have to pay, and that is nothing but what? That's a subscription fee, okay, for that POS machine. Second one will be transaction fee. So whenever you would swipe your card or whenever you make an online payment, typically whatever ranging from 0.5% to 2.5%, whatever for domestic transaction especially, transaction fee will be collected by the company, by Pine Labs. So as a simple example, let's say you do a 100 rupees transaction on Amazon. Typically, let's say 1% of that or 2% of that amount, that is 1 or 2 rupees, will be paid to whom? Will be paid to Pine Labs by Amazon, and which will be Pine Labs income. Okay. Third one is processing fee. I told you that they also facilitate something like an EMI or BNPL. For that, whenever you go for it, there's a processing fee in your entire account, right? So that processing fee will be whose income? That will be Pine Labs income. API and SaaS fee. So let's say they are providing some APIs to banks. They're providing certain solutions for that. They'll charge a fee for that. That is API fees and SaaS fees. And ultimately, it's distribution or processing fee for prepaid cards and issuing solutions. So these are typically the means through which they earn money. How much is earned from what, and how much money they earn geographically, we're going to come to that in the next section. As of now, let's understand for Pine Labs, core market is in India. Other markets are Malaysia, UAE, Singapore, Australia, US, parts of Africa. But as I said, how much revenue is generated in India, outside India, that split we'll check. And ultimately, one more important point, how many or what are the different types or how many number of enterprises they serve. For merchants, it's approximately 10 lakh. For brands, almost 716 brands and enterprises, 177 financial institutions, including banks and fintech. So I hope this basic point is clear. And in the next section, we'll move on with some more important information. The important point is KPIs or the key performance indicators. Now, for such a company, 2 3 points are important. Number one, how many transactions are happening on the platform. Number two, it could be what is the GTV or the gross total value of the transactions that are happening on the platform. Are the number of merchants who are using their services increasing? So all these points are given in these KPIs. Let's go through one by one. Platform GTV, if you check, it is continuously increasing from 4,397. Here you can see rupees billion to 11,434 billion. So more than, I mean, almost 3 times, right? Now you can see there are multiple GTVs given, be it digital infrastructure and transaction platform GTV, affordability, VAS, all these are GTVs. So if you just have to check, ideally, as a thumb rule, GTV should be increasing. And if you just have a quick look, in all scenarios, GTV is absolutely increasing. Good point. Okay. Number of transactions should also increase, because let's say the transaction values are increasing, but number of transactions are decreasing. That is also not a, I mean, that's not a point, right? That's not a big, that's not a good thing. So number of transactions, if you see here, 2.57 again billions to increasing to 5.68 billions. And of course quarterly data is also given, right? So these are the important points. Now also number of merchants, they should also keep on increasing. So from 530, you can see here thousands to 954,000. So again, increasing trend is a good one. Now talking about the financial KPIs, because whatever we talked about were the operational KPIs. For financial KPIs, revenue has increased from 15,000, you can see, rupees millions to 22,000 millions. And if I were to check the CAGR, that comes to a revenue CAGR of almost 17.33%. If you see your overall percent, now if you remember, I told you how much percentage of revenue comes from India, from outside India. Outside India revenue contributes to around 15%. Okay, so major transactions happen in India only. Now, if I were to also understand how much is the segment split, if you remember, I told about two segments. One was about providing the infrastructure and transaction platform revenue. Second one was issuing and acquiring platform revenue. For that, it's almost a 70-30 split, if you see here. So that's about the financial KPIs. Talking about non-GAAP financial KPIs, here you can see important one is adjusted EBITDA margin, and you can see here adjusted EBITDA margin is improving. Okay, again here, thumb rule is higher the better. In this section, we are going to talk about something super important. If you remember at the start of the video, I told you that something really important that you should know in this video is what is coming up in the next 20 seconds maybe. Okay, so first things first, industry analysis. Here you can see India is expected to grow at 22 to 24% in this area. But if I'm talking about other international geographies, be it Southeast Asia, UAE, Australia, they are expected to grow at 10 to 11% CAGR. Okay, fair enough. Now the key point. If you see here, the company is a loss-making company. If you see a loss before before the share of loss of associates, exceptional items, you can see yes, the overall losses are decreasing, but absolutely it is in losses. Be it before exceptional items, be it after exceptional items, it has been in losses continuously over the past 3 years. Now, if you go to the risk section of the RHP, the very first risk that they have said, as we have incurred losses in the recent past, including a loss of in 2025, which is primarily driven by our total expenses, which was 104% of our total revenue, and there can be no assurance that we will not continue to suffer losses in the future. As a student of stock market, I always say that for your hard earned money, would you want to invest in a loss making company or not, is a very basic question that everyone must answer. I'll not give the answer. It is to be understood by everyone, right? Would you invest in a loss making company? Plus they are very clearly mentioning in the risk that there is no assurance that we will not continue to suffer losses in the future. So again, I'm repeating, see, business model is not bad, but for me business model is important, but financials are equally important, correct? So your financials, question mark, they are a loss making company. Look at the cash flow from operations. They're continuously, 23 was negative cash flow from operations, 24 negative cash flow from operations, 25 they were positive cash flow from operations. But if you also check 3 months ended period, again, be it June ended 24 or June ended 25, both into losses. Also, they have very clearly mentioned there can be no assurance that we will not continue to generate negative cash flows in the future. Make a note of these points. Okay, last point, which I don't think is like a very big risk, they are saying that top 10 customers accounted for roughly 30% of the revenue. Now 10 customers accounting for 30% of the revenue is kind of a risk, but I don't see it as a huge risk. Even pending litigations, I don't see like extremely, I mean, such a big litigation is it. I don't see such big litigation here per se. So I think this is it. In the next section, we'll give a closing remarks on the IPO proceeds, where they're going to use it, IPO details, and some point on the valuation of the company. Now let's start with the closing point of this entire IPO valuation. If you have a look at this, you see revenue from operations, it's way lower than its listed peer, Indian listed peer, which is Paytm. It's 22,000 million versus Paytm at 69,000 million. Zaggle is maybe roughly half of Pine Labs. But the important point, Zaggle, which also got listed recently, for that, it is a profit making company, very important. And if you see here, you can see basic EPS, diluted EPS, at least they have a positive EPS, not a positive EPS neither for Pine Labs nor for Paytm. If you see a return on net worth, same old story, Zaggle at least because it's a profitable company, right? 9.64% return on net worth, again both these into losses. Same is for net asset value per share. You can see here, for Paytm it will have a positive net asset value, but again for Pine Labs it's negative, for Zaggle again it's positive. So all in all, P ratio is not applicable per se, because there is no earnings in positive territory. Okay, if you look at the IPO details, IPO opens on the 7th of November, closes on 11th of November, price band 210 to 21, 210 to 221. If you see, total issue size is 3,900. Major is fresh issue, but it's like as good as 51%, 49% types. So just a shade higher fresh issue still a big one for OFS. But what are they going to do with this fresh issue of almost 2,000 crore rupees? A majority of that is going to go into investments in IT, expenditure towards cloud infra, procurement of digital checkout points. By the way, this DCO, digital checkout points, is the same one, digital checkout points. Okay. All this is 7,600, second highest. So this is the first one because it's a IT driven company, right? It's a fintech company. So happy that at least majority of the money is going to use for tech. Second highest is repayment and prepayment in full or part of certain borrowings available by the company. Second highest proceeds are going to be used for prepayment of loans. And third highest is again expenditure towards procurements of DCP, which is a digital checkout points. I hope you found a lot of value in today's video. You understood about the nice summary of Pine Labs IPO. If you did like this video, please don't forget to smash the like button. Please don't forget to share this with your friends. I'll see you in the next one. Till then, take care. Jai Hind and bye-bye. You might have come across such advertisements on various social media platforms. Please note, all of these are fraudsters promising unbelievable returns through stock tips. I don't provide any calls or advisory services. I provide only educational content through my social media handles and through my website rachanaranade.com and rachanaranade.in.